Benjamin Rose writes in, filled with fury, Le Batard Show was so much better when they just did show. Trying to get aggregated every day is bleeping up the show. Benjamin, the only time I try to get aggregated is when I am wearing a costume. It is the only time. And I have some regrets recently that I've not been wearing a costume during certain moments, but it is legitimately the only time. Forgive me, I'm being right now distracted because Tony, looking extra Latin, extra Hispanic, that shirt has him looking very Miami. He is joining us right now from Jesus Perez Patio. Here at the Arbetters Wall of Fame. Arbetters, world's greatest chili dog since 1959. Ron McGill is a Hall of Famer at Arbetters. Why did you go there in order to try and find a person who can name a single Marlin, and how are you going to be doing this?
Dan, I'm glad that you asked. We're here on the corner of La 87 and Bird. And when you tell me Sawesera, you tell me Westchester, I think of baseball. Columbus is right down the road. We're obviously here at Arbetters. Miami Park is right down the road, too, where you have baseball being grown up in Miami, the grassroots of baseball. Miami Park, not too far away. And when you leave Miami Park after a Little League baseball game, you come over here to Arbetters and you get some chili dogs. So I am here, what I feel like is the grassroots of baseball. We've got some patrons inside. We're doing a couple things here to see who knows anything about the Marlins. I've got a crispy $20 bill for the first person that can name me a Marlin. Ma'am, can you name me a Miami Marlin?
I can't.
Juan.
Juan.
No, Juan is not on the team anymore. Do we have a Juan? I don't know.
Close. It's a good
Do we have a Juan?
guess. It is a good
Do we have
Such
one?
a Westchester answer.
It's such a good guess, though.
Brother, do you know anything about the Marlins?
Not really.
Not one? You can't name your Marlin?
Too
Too long. Okay, no. I'll answer that one for you.
All right.
All right, Dan, I'm going to go inside in a second and see if $20 can jog somebody's memory for
Hold on.
Miami Marlin. But I do want you to come over here really quick. Ron McGill, class of 2024, right there on top of Richard Blanco.
All right, hold on a second there, Tone. Before you get, we've got some questions here, and before you get going on this, before you wander through, you're gonna offer somebody. That guy, is that guy there wearing a Marlins shirt? That guy I saw. You're just gonna
No,
offer
it's an Arbetter shirt.
You're gonna offer
Brother,
them,
anything about the Marlins? Can you name me a Marlin for $20?
Marlins, the Dolphin. No.
The Dolphins. No, sorry. Close.
Damn.
Close.
Boy.
It's tough when you have a microphone. Sabotage people.
Tony, you look phenomenal,
Dolphins.
by the way.
You do. You look
You do
so.
look
Did you
great.
check the linen pants, too? Did you guys get the linen
they look
pants? Or
great.
what?
That is a very
Yeah, you know how we do.
That is a very bold choice for a shirt. Because if you looked any more like a couch, J.D. Vance would try.
I went area rug.
What couches do you know that look like this? Yeah, I was going to say, no couches look like this. So, Dan, you were saying, do you want me to go in and start, or did you have questions for me?
I do want you to go in and start in just a second, but I want to know, like, just how many people are there, and I do think, instead of asking them if they know anything about the Marlins, the aggressive putting of pressure on them, you saw what happened. That guy just choked of saying, name a Marlin for $20. The pressure of that does make people choke. I feel like I would fail that game if I wasn't expecting it.
Sure. Okay, I can come in with a little more subtlety. A guy in a Dodge Charger think he's being cool. That's Bird Road for you.
Westchester.
Yeah, Westchester. The Flannies is right down the road, by the way, Mike. We can meet there after. There's a father-son duo here that looks promising. He's wearing a baseball hat. You know,
well,
whatever.
But I don't think I don't want you to succeed until the end. I want to get some of the funny failures first. Before you go in there real quick, Chris, because you grew up playing in South Florida, but you grew up playing in Broward County baseball, when Tony says Miami, I was terrified of all their Little League players. They were so much better at baseball than us from Broward. So much better.
I played travel against them, and those teams are like, that was like, what's the movie where I'm 12? Where he just holds up a sign and he's like 38 years old, but it's like a sign that says, I am 12.
All right, Tony, go ahead and get in there, and let's see where it is that your travels take us.
All right, let's see. We got Dolphins guy here. He tried hard. Let me tell you. You know, it's not easy getting a mic put in your face.
He choked. Yes, that's true.
Yeah, he did. Let's see.
Yeah,
It'd
baseball.
be funny
counts.
if you
go
just
to,
ran into Billy Gill on his on his off time.
It would be. Guys, really quick, can you name me a Miami Marlin for $20? No. She's giving me this kid can. I want to say it to later. So
know that guy.
no
His
on the
name is
Miami
Colton.
Marlin.
Not one.
Mike Ryan says he knows you. You know Mike Ryan?
Oh, I know. Oh, yeah.
I was
Hey,
waiting
Colton.
for it.
Hey, what's up, dude?
Yeah. What's up, Mike?
Hey, good to see you, man. I like the mullet.
Colton can't name for $20. He says he likes the mullet.
Oh, he likes them all. It's good. Finally.
Good seeing you, Colton.
Shirts, but loves them all.
Good seeing you, Colton.
You're
Colton's buddy, can you name me a Miami Marlin for $20?
Not a chance.
Not a chance. Okay. Not a chance here. Not a chance. All right. The promising father-son duo. Dad, can you name me for $20? I'm going to give it to you right here. For $20, can you name me a Miami Marlin?
I'm more of a Yankee fan.
Of
All
course.
right. Kid
Well,
said
then
he's
yes.
got one. Here we go. All right. Name me a current Miami Marlin.
Jorge Soler.
No,
Nope.
That
That was
right?
last
Jorge
year.
Soler?
He was traded
No.
last year.
Last
Brave
year he got
now, I
traded.
believe.
Yeah.
He got traded.
Jazz Chisholm.
No.
Josh Chisholm got traded.
Your dad's pretty happy
One more.
about
You
him
got
now.
2 strikes. You know how baseball. 2 strikes. You got one more strike.
Avisal Garcia.
Avisal Garcia. Judges?
No.
Strike
It's a
3.
strikeout.
Rip that $20 bill away from that table.
One of the worst
Guys, I am so
contracts
sorry.
in
Okay.
baseball. Avisal Garcia.
So we've got nobody inside the world famous Arbetters that can name me a Miami Marlin. We also
Famers.
don't have a Miami Marlin on the wall here.
All right. All right, Tony,
yeah.
regroup. We'll come
That-
back to you. We'll see if the lunch crowd changes in 20 minutes over there.
Mike saw his friend.
Good to see
Okay.
Colton, his barber.
Thanks, Colton.
See you later, Tony. Thank you for checking in. We appreciate it. We're going to check in with you again because we're going to give away that $20 to somebody.
My life as I know it is about to drastically change forever. And the reason I say that, as many of you know, I'm going to be a father coming up in December to a baby girl, and it's crazy, and I can't believe it. And a lot of my life is going to change, but there's one thing in my life that's going to be constant. And since 1975, this original light beer has been a constant, a mainstay for the entire planet. And it's going to continue to be a mainstay for me. It's Miller Lite. They keep it simple. Undebatable quality, great taste, only 96 calories. It's the beer that strips away everything you don't need and holds on to what matters most. It's a light beer that actually tastes like beer. You don't have to choose what's best. Miller Lite has great taste and is less filling, and it tastes like Miller time. To get Miller Lite delivered right to your door, visit MillerLite.com/Dan, or you can find it pretty much anywhere that sells beer. Celebrate responsibly. I will when my daughter's born with a tall, cold glass of Miller Lite. Miller Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. 96 calories per 12 ounces. Fewer calories and carbs than premium regular beer.
I have a topic here that I believe to be the most in the wheelhouse for Jessica in her entire tenure with our show. Because Mike and I were talking, and he was wondering if tiramisu is a Hall of Fame dessert. And I don't know who we would put in as first ballot Hall of Fame desserts, but I did want to just ask the group, in honor of the tiramisu story that Mike Ryan is going to update us on in a second, if you had only one dessert that you can have, there's only one that you can have, because which one would you choose as, for you, the most first ballot Hall of Famer as a dessert? Because mine are, what are you shaking your head about?
There couldn't be a more obvious answer to this. I'll go last. though, 'cause I don't wanna say it first.
my personal favorites, here's the thing. You say there couldn't be a more obvious answer, but for me, the things that I consider the greatest weaknesses are ice cream cake and cheesecake. But I don't know if those would be Hall of Fame desserts for everybody. First ballot Hall of Famers for everybody. They would be my favorites, but I'm not sure that I would have consensus on that. Is tiramisu a Hall of Fame dessert? Like how is this the college Is this the Basketball Hall of Fame? Is it easy to get into, or is it hard to get into?
Well, certainly if it were the Basketball Hall of Fame, tiramisu would get in based on international accomplishments. The creator passed away recently, and I was stunned to learn that the inventor of tiramisu was just 81 years old at the time of his passing. That means that this was a relatively new invention. Your dad probably remembers when tiramisu got introduced to the culinary world. Wow, to be there in that moment when someone decides coffee, pastries, together for dessert.
It's not just coffee and pastry, Mike. I've made tiramisu 3 times. I've made classic tiramisu twice. And you have to make ladyfingers. Some people buy ladyfingers. I make them from scratch. You have to make very soft, nice, cylindrical ladyfingers. And then you soak them in coffee mixed with alcohol. So for me, the 2 greatest things, and also the 2 things that cause the greatest amount of heartburn in most people, are part of this dessert. So it's the ladyfinger, it's the soaking, and then it's the layer of cream and mascarpone. 3rd greatest thing for me, behind alcohol and coffee, cheese. And tiramisu has it all.
That's why baking is our core culinary discipline, Dan.
Put it on the poll, please. Is cheese a dessert at Le Batard Show? And put on the poll, Juju, is tiramisu a dessert Hall of Famer? I'm not sure it would be. Not if it's the Baseball Hall of Fame. You really sounded like you had some judgment in your voice when you viewed others buying ladyfingers at the store versus making them from scratch.
For me, if you're going to go out of your way to make tiramisu, just make the ladyfingers yourself, because it does take a while. You do have to chill it for a while for it to come together and set. So I always make my own. I think once you've made something like a ladyfinger from scratch, you can never go back to store-bought. Like, it just is so much better
delicious.
And fresher, and you can really taste the flavors. It is a lot of work, Roy, and you have to put it in a piping bag and pipe it out to get the shape, and that can be a real pain in the ass. You also can't over whip it. You have to have the air holes in it, so you have to have a really light batter, and then you have to put it in your piping bag and pipe it out into these nice rows to make your even layer of tiramisu. But that is also the great thing about doing it from scratch. You can make different shapes. So if you want to do a round tiramisu, you could do round ladyfinger cookies. And then I guess they're not really lady fingers. They're more like lady stumps, I guess. But it's still
Lady
delicious.
Stugotz fingers.
Because, there you go. The lady sausage fingers. You soak it in the rum or cognac, whatever, and the coffee. Oh, mwah. The second variation of tiramisu that I made last year, I made it for my birthday, was a lemon-flavored tiramisu, and instead of rum and coffee, I used lemon and limoncello. So it was soaked in limoncello, and then there was a layer of the mascarpone cream. Oh, my God, it was so good.
TFTI.
I just learned something valuable. You just taught me something today. You said put it on a poll. Tiramisu is one word.
Oh, you didn't know that?
I was thinking it was like Tierra and then Masu.
This is the name.
Franco Harris.
It's
Harry
Tiramisu.
Masu.
Thank you, Dan.
I'm going creme brulee's up there.
Creme brulee's great.
When we're talking first ballot, though, I like tiramisu. There are fancy desserts, but we're just talking word association. Dessert, first ballot Hall of Fame, ice cream. That's it. Dan mentioned it. We can do ice cream cake if you want, but
What
ice
flavor?
cream,
All flavors?
just ice cream,
Oh,
is the first round pick, first draft pick of a dessert draft. Ice cream.
I have a question for Jess as we answer that, though. Tiramisu being a relatively new dessert kind of surprised me. Are there any new desserts that are changing the game? Things that haven't really been conventionally used as a dessert, but have now just shocked the system the way that tiramisu did?
That's a great question. I have seen a lot of recent desserts in Miami that have quinoa in them. And I know that sounds disgusting, but it's actually quite good, because what these restaurants are doing is they're baking quinoa with sugar and creating candy quinoa. And it's actually pretty good. It's got a nice little crunch to it, and then you serve that with heavy whipped cream and some sort of other fruit component. It's very, very good.
I would like you to close your eyes. For you to just close your eyes. You just had a great dinner. And now the waiter brings over a saucer, and on that saucer lies an unwrapped Snickers ice cream bar and a fork. Dig in, guys. Wake up. You're awake.
I would like to nominate a couple first ballot dessert Hall of Famers. One, I made this weekend, Black Forest cake. Spent my whole Sunday making it before I realized the U.S. was actually playing Germany in soccer, and then I was like, I hope we win, and we did. Delicious. Cherries, also kirsch involved, so it has the alcohol and the chocolate component. And then, of course, you have to have your classic key lime pie with a little dollop of whipped cream on it, a little bit of citrus zest from your key lime, or use regular limes if you don't have key limes, it's fine. But the nice salty graham cracker crust, the custardy lime center, and the whipped cream, that is a first balloter.
I think you need to do a baking segment. You and Cody need to team up to see if you can figure out how to do that for us.
I want to get back to ice cream here. Do you separate the ice cream out? Do you go regular ice cream, gelato, sherbet, custard? What do you do
I think we have to pick. We can't do just ice cream as a Hall of Famer. I think you have to go flavors. I think look, Black Forest cake, I don't know that people are going to vote for that.
I was going to say, all due
Famer.
respect, Jess, first ballot.
Did anyone voice for cookies? Because I don't want to ignore cookies.
That's a first round pick.
Well,
especially now.
Which cookies?
Well, we're in the golden age of these really decadent cookies.
A double chunk chocolate cookie.
Put it on the poll, please, Juju, at Le Batard Show. Does candy quinoa sound delicious?
Boom!
I had a gelato this past weekend that was wine flavored. Oh, my God. Put that on the first ballot.
Jessica, a lot of your desserts have a lot of liquor in them. Like, this seems to be a recurring
My type of
theme
dessert.
here.
Put bottles of port there, too. That's a great dessert. Just a glass of port.
Yeah.
Do you think the vote's going to come back strong on Black Forest cake being an immediate first ballot Hall of Famer? That was an unusual choice to go that aggressive there.
Well, I think people like cherries a lot. And when you make the Black Forest cake cherries, you like melt the cherries down with sugar. And so they become really soft and sweet. And you have to use like these really dark, sweet cherries. And I spent probably 3 hours on Sunday pitting the cherries. So it's not like this is something you can just whip up. Like, this was a labor of love. I had to use a chopstick. I don't have a cherry pitter. I had to use a chopstick, and I had to stab the pit out. And then my friend Rohan actually came over and helped me with it. That was fun. It's an activity for the whole family, really.
When you say Black Forest, I go ham. So I just she had me thinking about like a ham cake.
Yeah.
Like it
By the way,
kind of good actually.
By the way,
You go ham as in like you like go crazy?
From the makers of Change Your Yahoo Passwords because there was a data breach, big recall on Boar's Head deli meat. So keep an eye out on that.
Oh, Mike,
7
I'm glad
million
you mentioned
pounds.
this. Speaking of ham, people are going ham about this listeria outbreak because I read there's over like $28 billion or something like that of recalled deli meats. And it's mostly around the Northeast. Florida, I don't think was on the list. So if you have been to Publix lately for a sub, double check. But I think you're okay.
A brutal blow for Joe Rose and the people at the local
the
people,
caller, who's
the local people
Richie
at
from Boar's Head?
Richie from Boar's Head locally. I was trying to look for the name of who from Boar's Head. Also, put this on the poll, Juju, please. Black Forest, ham, or cake, and also put on the poll what is the better cake, Black Forest cake or red velvet cake? What are the
funny
best?
thing is, it was Indian Forest just up until recently.
Too soon.
Turned black. Because I don't think of Black Forest cake as something that I would necessarily put in my top 10 cakes. I'm not totally sure.
I agreed with you until Sunday because that was the first time I've really tried it. And I was blown away by Black Forest cake. It is phenomenal.
You were happy at what you made, too.
Yes,
you
I
created
did a really good
something
job.
new. It was 3 hours. It was a labor of love. Your friend comes over. It becomes an emotional endeavor.
I want to revisit the whole cookie situation here. The best Hall of Fame cookie in the world, I don't have a name for it, don't ask me, but it's in the Christmas bin, tin. You open the tin, and it's so many cookies. It's 2 of them. I don't know the name of them. It's only 2 of them.
The butter
best
cookies?
cookies ever made.
It's not the
Sugar
most
cookie?
efficient.
Right.
But you can also reuse the tin, which is great.
Like the shortbread cookies?
I'm not sure who
All right,
was
you got-
very
born or
buttery?
their gender. They're just delicious.
All right, what you have to do, Juju, is go ahead and search the tin you're talking about because I think they are in shape. They are the rectangular ones.
You know, sir, me and you are here, sir.
But
You
what
just took me to Abuela Ida's house with this.
the problem with what you're saying, though, Juju, is that those cannot be better than just the generic chocolate chip cookie or the best made macadamian cookie, correct? Like my favorite, is this controversial to say? I prefer the macadamia nut cookie to the chocolate chip cookie. This has to be controversial.
That is controversial.
No, macadamia nut cookies with white chocolate chips, I assume.
Yes.
Delicious, however, very expensive. Macadamia nuts are not cheap.
It's not a problem
So
for
your
him.
classic chocolate chip cookie is going to be a much easier bake.
Yes, it's cost, when it comes to eating dessert.
I'll take 12.
Money
Look at
is
this
no
guy.
Your
object.
life hasn't
Yes.
been affected by the
Yes.
inflation of Mac nuts, has it?
I will insist that the kitchen go and bring me the truffle pig so that I can eat it first after it's gotten me the dessert. That's how I do it, because I want it to be as decadent as possible. But I don't believe that we have mainstream dessert opinions when Juju is citing as his Hall of Fame cookie the rectangular one from the Blue Grandma tin, and and Jessica.
Nothing's worse though when you bite into a bad one of those. Like you have an open mind. Look at all these choices. Why is it green?
I have a really hot take. I might be the only person under the age of 60 who likes fruitcake, but you give me all of those nuts and fruits drenched in brandy and then baked into a cake. Oh, there is nothing better.
Seems to be a theme here.
It keeps coming up here. You'd love my mother's rum cake. I have seen people get drunk on it. I have seen because she loads it up with so much rum.
I got drunk on it.
You've had it. That's right.
Yep.
And it takes a minute to get Roy drunk. Like he does. He's not a good drinker. He drinks too much.
What are you
You're
talking
not a good
about?
drinker.
That's true. I do.
You're not. You when you drink to excess, and I don't think you know where excess is on the line before you've stepped over it.
You are absolutely right, Dan.
And when it comes to dessert beverages, the mudslide.
Oh, yeah.
So good.
Yeah.
With a floater.
Do we have to pick a dessert that is in a compartment when we're talking about what it is that we're talking about here, Chris Cody? Because I don't think you can just say all ice cream. I think if it's got to be a kind of ice cream.
Sorbet
right?
has to be separated.
Sorbet's not going to get. That's not a Hall of Fame dessert.
It isn't?
It's not even representing
Poor man's
decadent.
ice cream.
It's not decadent. It's
Limoncello flavored, perhaps?
Put it on the poll, please, Juju. Is sorbet a Hall of Fame dessert? I think it's too healthy. It's not decadent enough. It's not.
You're like a step away from just saying Jack Daniels, Jets.
It's not rich enough. Tony is back now. Has the lunch crowd now changed over at the lunch crowd has changed over at Arbetters. He is having a hot dog. How are the hot dogs there? Hall of Fame hot dogs, Tony?
Hall of Fame hot dogs, Dano. Having a nice little just regular ketchup and mustard on the dog. Cleared out a little bit. I don't know if the workers want to name a Miami Marlin, but I'm here enjoying the hot dogs, Dan. We can wait for more people, but
okay, I don't know.
Ernie, can you name me a current Miami Marlin? Nah, who can't? Guys, a current Miami Marlin back there? Anybody? For $20? Yeah, Josh Chisholm just got traded. He knows, okay? Can you name me
That's the
a Miami
move. Start
Marlin that's
naming
on the
other
team right
ones.
Gosh, Beckett's not still there.
Dave Magadan.
Alex Arias.
They're pointing at something over there, but I don't think so. Here you go. Let's see. What are we pointing at, boys?
All right.
Nick Gordon. Nick Gordon. Is he a current Miami Marlin?
Wait,
Yes, he is.
I think we have a Marlin.
I
Wait,
think-
was he moved at the deal? We had him.
He's on the website.
He named a Marlin.
We did it, everybody. It's been done.
Where is
Good
he?
job.
Show yourself, Nick
got
Gordon.
that guy.
Yes.
Wearing an A's hat.
Yes.
He's a. Hold on. Say it again.
I'm a Phillies fan. I like Bryce Harper. That's the GOAT.
Okay, Bryce Harper the GOAT. And we got a take with it, too. There you go.
All right, but give him the $20 and then also ask him if he can name any other Marlins. Can he name any others, or is that it?
I paid for the hot dog with the $20, so I can't give him the money.
All right, Tony,
So,
get out
we
of
bought
here.
a couple other hot dogs too. It's like 1995.
All right, we'll come back. We'll come back to you. Is that it? You're out of money? All right, good talking to you. See you later.
Yeah, I'm out of money. We're kind of out of people.
All right, thank you. Somebody shouting from the kitchen, Nick Gordon. You guys aren't made.
And no one knowing in here if he was a Marlin.
Can I hear from Drunk Roy at the Stanley Cup, please? I would like to hear Roy out in the field as an example of Roy not being able to hold his liquor or knowing where the line is on excess.
All right, we have made it from Amarin Beck Arena to the infield, which is a couple blocks down. You know, the funny thing about that is I started drinking after that.
Which is
We are made it.
Roy.
We are made it t-shirts coming soon. LeBatardAF.com.
All right, we have made it from Amarin Beck Arena to the infield, which is a couple blocks down.
Couple blocks down.
You're claiming that you had not had anything to drink there yet?
Correct. All right, we have made it from Amarin Beck Arena to the infield, which is a couple blocks down. I was high on life, dude. We had won a Stanley Cup.
I don't know. Man, really?
Yes, really.
You didn't have anything at the arena?
No.
Couple blocks down. Let me hear the start one more time.
All right, we have made it from Amarin Beck Arena
if
to
you say
the
so, dude.
infield, which is a couple blocks down.
We have made it to the infield.
We are made it, brother.
No, it's
We
have.
did.
I said have.
I'm Team Roy. Speaking of Roy, he mentioned pies. I made a bourbon pecan pie once that was out of this world.
What is better, the pecan pie or the key lime pie? Because I'm a sucker for the pecan pie.
Now we're talking. These are some good pies.
That is a really good
what-
I
question.
won't choose.
Tough choice.
All right, look, I've thrown a lot at
What's the penalty for not choosing?
I've thrown a lot at you guys and the audience. So I make you guys make a list of both top 5 cakes and pies, and let's throw ice cream in there as well.
I could name a cake.
If I say to you ice cream flavors, cakes, pies, and let's make our own top 5 lists. I want to take a break here. I want to take a break and gather ourselves.
Is it types of cake or cakes made by a specific vendor?
I am already telling you that the ice cream cake for me is going on there, and you just heard my love of the pecan pie. You've got a lot of options here on what it is you can do with cakes or pies, but what do you mean by the vendor?
Because
By,
Publix cake is my favorite dessert.
But no, but it's
Or like
Okay.
a DQ ice cream cake. Those are very, very
I thought this
popular.
was America, Jack. I'm just saying what my favorite dessert is.
a Publix
I don't like
cake.
to be met with no. That doesn't make me feel good.
Publix is only in Florida, correct? Is Publix?
It's creeped up in
It's in the south.
We got some
Georgia.
in the A-Town.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we reference pub subs all the time. We're not throwing flags on that play.
Does the Publix cake have a layer of boar's head ham and cheese on top of it? How does this differentiate itself from other cakes?
So you've never actually had a Publix
No.
cake? They make really good cakes, dude. It's my favorite type of
Chicken
cake.
tender on top?
The reason that I say you can't pick that is that's like picking an Entenmann's cake. You're picking almost a
I would go like rich frosted chocolate donuts if I'm going anywhere from Entenmann's.
but you're picking a brand instead of a type of cake.
The heart wants what it wants.
Okay.
They're my
Louisiana
favorite.
crunch cake.
And it's got like one that's been in the fridge.
I got my top 5.
All right. Well, I need time to gather myself, and I know you got it very quickly. This is a strength of yours.
What is the criteria? So we're each ranking.
Top 5 for you.
Okay.
Top 5 cakes, top 5 pies,
Vita Guerra.
and top 5 ice cream flavors.
One list.
It's one list. You're not doing the way you made it sound is we're making a top 5 of cakes,
not a top
cookies, and this.
15.
No, it's our top 5. It can include any of those things.
That is how I was doing it. I was making 3 lists.
Oh.
Oh.
That's,
Wow, that's a
I
lot
don't
of work.
wanna, I'm not playing that way.
What's the penalty again if we don't choose?
That's right. It's time for Thursday Thunder. It's brought to you by DraftKings. Stay tuned because you'll hear more about what DraftKings has to offer throughout the show. DraftKings, the crown is yours. Juju Gotti, what do we got?
We are back yet again, ladies and gentlemen, and I would like to make a sincere apology for everyone who has bet with me the last couple of weeks. We have had some heartbreakers, some 2 for 3s with one missing. Oh my God, it hurts me so bad. Reach out to me in the DM. I got you a gift. Just reach out with proof. If you prove that you lost, reach out to me in the DM, and I got you 100%.
Juju, you do not have to
I
care
don't.
that
Yes,
way.
I do. Yes,
You
I
not-
do.
It's not necessary for you to care so much that if you lose them money with your expertise, which has been very good, you have poured yourself into these, and your picks have been good. 3-team parlays, 3-leg parlays are hard to win, and you should not be offering the people a refund of any kind in the gift variety. You
I
shouldn't do
should
that.
not, but my mama raised a great boy. Salute to my mommy. I love you so much. Reach out to me with proof of loss, and I got your back. Our first leg for this week, we're taking Sha'Carri Richardson in the 100-meter to win because I'm just in the spirit. We had Michael Johnson on earlier, and I got in the spirit. I think this sister is finna blaze a trail through Paris Saturday morning. You dig me? No thoughts on that?
I'm looking forward to her grabbing redemption after what her last few years have felt like. I'm obviously rooting. These are two of the biggest stars. Lyles and Richardson are two of the biggest stars we have in American Olympic sports.
Yes, sir, and I'm glad you said that because I'm going also with Noah Lyles in the 100 meters for the USA men's this weekend. He's a -120. I'm riding with Noah Lyles, man. Got to know.
And do you guys like the sprinting as much as I do? Because I do feel that there are many people who watch the Olympics for just the gymnastics and the sprinting, that they don't have much interest in anything else.
I like the relay when they pass the baton.
I found that I like everything.
Right.
Everything you can bet on?
It's not just that, although that is an aspect of it, but the coverage is better today than it has ever been in my lifetime, and I'm pretty much understanding and gaining an appreciation for pretty much everything outside of fencing. That sport.
I like the air pistol, I think, where the girl, just the dead eye she had, and Buddy from the Turkish guy.
Oh, Turkish guy. Turkish guy was great.
Let's get through this, but I do want to get to that story because there was a 51-year-old Turkish dude who went out there, casual as hell, didn't have any of the equipment, put his hand in his pocket, and won the silver medal.
Salute to that brother, my brother indeed. Last leg, we're going with Puerto Rico. They're going against the USA. They got 32.5 plus in the hole. I do not think I love Team USA, but we all know that with J.J. Barea lurking, LeBron James isn't the same guy. He's lurking. He's going to be watching this game, so I don't think they're going to win by 32.5 points.
Wait a minute. It seems like what we've got up here on the screen is 33 now. It might have gone up to 33.
It went up to 33?
It might have, yes, according to DraftKings. Plus 33, man. Puerto Rico.
I believe in Puerto Rico more than that, dog. They're going to keep this thing at least closer than 33 points. Trust me. Don't trust me. You dig me.
I am always scared of the plus 33s when I'm betting against that kind of favorite. Do you do many bets like that, Mike, where you're betting on football Saturdays? Anybody who is plus 33, especially the plus 50s and that stuff, I can never take the plus side on that.
That's a great backdoor opportunity. What I'm doing right now is I've recently been hot, and if you super follow, you probably know this. But so I've been doing privately because I like to stash winnings, closing parlays with college football games several weeks from now. So when that Coco Gauff Fritz doubles comes in, it is fully hanging on Rice to just win their game against Sam Houston State in a couple of weeks. It makes for some truly bizarre parlays.
Doesn't football start tonight?
Yes. In fact, I don't think there's going to be another Thursday without football until we reach February. Today is the Hall of Fame game, which used to matter in this country. And I think it still matters. The numbers probably – it's going to be interesting, though, with Olympic competition because that's probably going to be the re-air of the all-around individual gymnastics, which for me is the signature Olympic event.
Speaking of football, before we get back to desserts, what happened with Robert Saleh and Aaron Rodgers? What is the Aaron Rodgers had – what he is telling Kate Adams is an overblown thing with Garrett Wilson. They were fooling around, talking on the sidelines. You zigged when you were supposed to zag. And then Garrett Wilson says, well, you were supposed to be here. You weren't supposed to be on vacation in Egypt.
Is that true? Because I saw that on the internet, too, and I thought, no, I can't fall for this. I want it to be this, but I don't know if this is true.
It doesn't matter. It was whatever it was silly. But this, I think, is slightly less silly. Like this seems confusing to me. If I'm a Jets fan and I'm hearing this, I find it confusing.
Where do you stand on playing in the preseason?
Yeah, I mean, that's Robert's decision. I've never told him I don't want to play in the preseason. There's a lot of thoughts about whether there's any particular gain from it. We used to play all the time. It wasn't even a question. We played, 10 to 15 the first one, and quarter and a half in the second one, and the third quarter in the third one, and then sometimes, Tennessee would always play their guys. Shoot, sometimes through the third quarter, we would play, maybe a series or two. Now nobody wants to play. They don't want to play their guys. It's different. To combat that, now we're doing all these practices with other teams, so we have 3 of those. I'm assuming those will be like our super heavy days, and then it'll be like the preseason for us. If he decides he wants me to play against the Giants, I'll strap it up and look forward to that.
Just a quick follow there, is the decision different this time because of the injury?
No, I don't think so. No, I don't have any restrictions. I'm doing keepers, rollouts. So it was news to me yesterday when he said I wasn't going to play in the first 2. Eric sent me that. Thank you. But we hadn't even had a conversation yet about that. So
doesn't that strike you as weird?
Right.
News to me? News to me?
Eric sent me that. Thank you. It seems pointed at Robert Saleh. They have something going on that if they come out winning 5-1, nobody would care. But if they start off 0-2, they're going to point right to this stuff right here and cause some turmoil in the locker room drama.
One of the things that I find so interesting about everything happening with the Jets and the power that Aaron Rodgers realizes that he now has over a franchise that's obvious to everybody is that if you're not Mike McDaniel, who acts as he is a bit of an assistant to the player, he is trying to be someone who is an ally, who is helping the player be his best self. It doesn't mean that you're soft, but he's not interested in running the franchise the way that buries players or proves to them that he's in charge. If I'm Robert Saleh and this is my season to keep my job, a job I've wanted all my life, a job I didn't know I was going to get, and now my quarterback says, yeah, fine me, I'm going to Egypt. And I'm like, I want to be in control of this, but my quarterback keeps showing everyone I'm not in control of this. You know how I'm going to show him? I'm not going to tell him he's not playing in the preseason. It's going to be news to him, and he's going to get it in a press conference. I'm like, that's the Jets jetsing and their best hope, and this is the problem with the Jets jetsing. They know full well that their best hope is Aaron Rodgers being what Aaron Rodgers used to be, and you almost have to tolerate anything. Once that's the place that you find yourself in, which is last place, you have to tolerate Aaron Rodgers being maximum what Aaron Rodgers is right now, which is every time he's in front of a microphone, there's going to be something like that makes an appearance, which is, it runs counter to everything I've ever seen from the quarterback position in that sport. You do not bring headlines to your huddle. You lie your way through whatever that is, and then you go talk to your coach afterward and are like, why would you do that? Like, it's just the weirdest thing to me to watch them power struggle in public in a way that Robert Saleh has no way of winning unless Aaron Rodgers does the winning for him. It's so humiliating if I'm the coach to realize again and again how powerless I actually am.
As much as I want to make fun of this lack of communication, it reminds me a lot of a Monday when we come into work and all of a sudden Stugotz is in here and we're like, where's Stu? It's just like the way he was like, oh yeah, I learned this from Eric over here. I'm like, Taylor told me that Stugotz isn't going to be here.
We're not competing against Belichick's Patriots in this space. We can win doing that in this stupid space. Robert Saleh's not going to get another job because of what's happening here with Aaron Rodgers.
Neither Stugotz.
He might not last the season because of their whole thing is, can Aaron Rodgers please be Aaron Rodgers from 5 years ago? That's the whole plan. And when you rely on someone like that from this level of desperation, I really don't know how Robert Saleh convinces anyone in that locker room that he's in charge, which is not unlike our situation. Because I don't know how I convince any of you when I'm asking for Gas Bag of the Week to get it for me on the 12th ask when you're like, well, I'm showing up. Stugotz isn't here on a Thursday. Are you ready for your dessert list? Is everyone here ready with their dessert list? You've had enough time
I'm only doing one, though. I don't know what game you want to play.
Okay, one list. You badgered me out of it. It's because I'm not in control. You're Aaron Rodgers, and I'm Robert Saleh.
Wait a second. I have to narrow mine down to 5. What if I have 5 and 10 OLIs?
You can do it that way if you want.
Mike, what are you going to do?
I'm going totally off the board because I did look. It was like initially there were 3 lists, so we had 15 options, and then you had the OLIs. I didn't want to contribute to what could have been a little messy, so I'm just doing something totally different with mine, and that's just desserts that I saw on TV or the movies that I wanted to eat.
Just what Dan asked for.
Okay, yes, I've got no control over anything. I'm going first. That's what I'm doing. I'm going to go.
In my defense, I asked for permission politely.
I'm going to go.
Kind of like asking to go to Egypt.
Yes, the same way.
I got all 3 lists ready for you.
Look at Roy.
Thank you, Roy.
You got it.
I'm going to make my list, and then I'm going to leave in disgust because you guys are absolutely not a group that can be controlled. Number 5, Tres Leches. Number 4, Cuatro Leches. Number 3, Cinco Leches.
Comedy.
Number 2, Flan. And number 1, ice cream cake.
Nice. That's very good. I got my top 5 cakes as well. I'm going to go chocolate cake. I'm going to go red velvet cake. I'm going to go lemon cake. I'm going to go Hostess sweet rolls. And I'm going to go zebra cake for the win.
That brings me back. Zebra cakes. Oh,
Lemon cake was sneaky in there. It's super sugary. Roy?
All right, I got Louisiana crunch cake. Angel food cake.
That white cake?
Pineapple upside down cake.
Really?
Vanilla cake. And lemon cake.
Vanilla cake?
Yeah.
Are all of you with that?
No, not even a centimeter.
Why?
But salute to my brother.
Does it have frosting on it?
What is vanilla cake?
Yeah, it has like vanilla frosting on top of it, like lemon cake has lemon frosting.
Is that what they had in Django? Tonight, we're having white cake.
That's no.
You workshop that one too.
Yeah, he thought about that one.
What's your list look like, Chris Cody?
Oh, it's a beautiful thing. Number 5.
Is it?
This is just my top 5 desserts. Apple pie a la mode.
Oh, ice cream and pie.
Number 4.
Should be against the
a
rules.
double chocolate cookie. Number 3. A chocolate brownie with vanilla ice cream.
You're mixing.
You're cheating.
Number 2, ice cream cake with Dan on that. And then chocolate ice cream, number 1.
Really?
With cake on top.
With M&Ms and cake and I should have put in the Dairy Queen Blizzard.
Oh.
No, that was on my ice cream list. You just stole it, bro.
Oh, no.
I'm sorry. I didn't know you had another list. Let's do your ice cream
Every
list
time they
right
flip
now.
that thing upside down, I'm just like,
I
wow.
inspect
Number
it.
5, Neapolitan.
What?
Cheater.
Snickers ice cream candy bar. McDonald's Oreo McFlurry.
On the Neapolitan, when you get the box of
Love
Neapolitan
this. Love
ice cream,
this.
what's the ice cream that's last? And-
Chocolate.
Really?
Every time, yeah.
I go from side to side of that thing. One scoop, I'm getting all 3 flavors.
Wow. I would always pick around because I never liked the strawberry ice cream.
Right. Vanilla. And Dan stole the number 1 Dairy Queen.
I'm sorry. Which Blizzard? Is there a particular
The Oreo
Blizzard?
Blizzard.
I
You
like
got
the
to
Heat
know.
Bar Blizzard.
I also have ice cream.
Oh, do you?
All right. Yes, I do. Reese's Peanut Butter Cup. Chocolate chip cookie dough. Vanilla.
That's so strange.
Sea salt caramel.
That's a good
And
one.
Oreo.
This show's sudden obsession with vanilla makes it feel like Stan Van Gundy, old flavorless Stan Van Gundy, is making the picks around
Salt
here.
chips.
Well, it has to have the vanilla beans in there.
Where are you, Jessica, on this right now? Your list is complete now? I've
can do-
filibustered as long as I can as you
do,
get 15 of them together.
The cakes. I can do my top 5 cakes.
There you go.
Yeah.
OLIs?
No OLIs.
All right, so you're getting right. I feel like Jessica took more care with this than the rest of us. It was very meticulous. It just seems like it seems like she was very indecisive about how to get it down to 5.
I actually only have 4.
See?
Wow.
Ooh, wow.
She is our foremost authority on desserts, given her core culinary discipline.
Yeah.
Why don't you have a 5th one? Just didn't have time?
The list has a very high standard. Wow.
Can I add an OLI to yours just to throw in there as your brother?
Let me do my top 4.
Wow. She just shoved you out of the box. You went flying.
Number 4, the green M&M. Number 3, onion from the Cleveland Guardians hot dog race.
Sorry, I stepped on that.
Number 2, Big Red. Number 1, Mrs. Matt. Juju, what was your OLI?
Cinnamon graham crackers. Delicious.
We'll get to Mike Ryan's rebellious, anarchy-filled dessert list in a second. I know all of you felt like you had really missed out in the last segment because you didn't get Mike's exclusively movie desserts. So we will do that in a moment. But
I still have pie.
I don't know that I want to go to any more of your vanilla pies.
There it is. Vanilla pie?
There's vanilla bean pie, damn it.
God damn it.
I don't think I want your pies. I don't like your lists. I don't
come on, you'll like this one though.
I can do top 5 creams.
I did like your list. How long is that impersonation?
What about mine, man? You want mine?
Your Joe Biden's creams?
He
No.
loves ice cream, by the way.
He does.
I have a sticker on my phone of him eating ice cream that I probably use like 4 times a day because it's always time to just see Joe Biden taking a big bite of an ice cream cone.
Who said apple pie? I like that one.
Everybody, I feel like
there's a picture of him holding a blizzard upside down too that went viral once. Oh, that is great.
I feel like everybody likes ice cream. Doesn't everybody like ice cream?
Of course.
Before we get to that, though, I wanted to ask you guys off of the changing way that people have to be coached in football, because I think it feels that you can't have a much larger statement that the way coaching in football is being received by a generation of players has had to have changed substantively if Bill Belichick can't get a coaching job. If Bill Belichick has to interview multiple times in Atlanta to not get the Falcons job because something has changed in the sport that isn't just about his personnel decisions and is about a style of coaching that we just saw the Dolphins change the way their leadership works. One of them was a Patriot disciple, and then someone softer comes in, and what you get from the quarterback position is much different than what you got from Flores. If all of this is changing in the AFC East, where McDaniel's got one kind of coaching style, Saleh is having his undone by a quarterback who's too powerful for the coach. At the top of that division for 20 years was a coach and a quarterback who fought for power, but Belichick always had it, and at the end, Brady left because he didn't have any more time for it. Belichick is now out of work and in the media game, and he just signed a deal, I don't know if you guys saw this, with Underdog Fantasy, where he is creating and co-producing a show where he's going to be breaking down film and doing whatever it is creatively and co-production-wise that Belichick wants to get into. And I'm really surprised. I don't know if this is something that has been covered in a way that's sufficient to me, that feels sufficient to me. I'm really surprised that what is by consensus believed to be the greatest coach in that sport's history and one of the greatest coaches of all time, that he has to settle for media work because of however it is that the game has to be coached now that can't include him. Because in the accruing of power, so Aaron Rodgers accrues power, Tom Brady accrues power, and you see what it manifests. Bill Belichick accrued power, and now nobody wants to give it to him Nobody wants to give it to him to run a team the way that he wants to, and nobody wants to give it to him to select coaches that have failed when they get away from Belichick, and nobody wants to give it to him for personnel power. So to me, that feels like a pretty seismic change, not just in that division, but in that sport and in sports in general, that Bill Belichick is sitting here taking a bunch of media jobs that he's going to leave midway through the season when Jerry Jones calls him.
For me, it's the sheer volume of things that he's doing that is surprising. That is a really loaded slate. There is a lot of commitments there. And I guess rather than you would think after a run that he had and after the job market kind of shut its door on him, he'd maybe take the opportunity to go away. But I think he's going to do a lot to improve people's perception of him, because all we know of him is that he's a curmudgeon and we're on to Cincinnati. So I think if he comes off, charming, as he's capable of doing often in some of these, charming for him, I should say, I think he'll get his name right back in the mix with these openings, and he sees the value in using the media to leverage their platforms and make himself more likable and therefore more hireable.
We know that Bill Belichick was a big special teams guy admirer. How disappointed do you think he is that he doesn't get to find loopholes in this new NFL kickoff rule and exploit it for his own team's gain? Because I have a feeling he wishes he were in the huddle right now telling them how to do this.
He is spending an inordinate amount of time in media jobs because I would imagine that he has been working 17-hour days in football for the last 30 years.
They mentioned the new rules. I just am so... Is anyone else rooting against the new kickoff rule?
Which rule?
Yeah, I'm rooting against the onside rule, no doubt, because I like the surprise onside kick and being able to armchair quarterback that one. I like the new kickoff rule in that it was the old XFL kickoff rule that the UFL did away with. I love the XFL kickoff rule.
I want there to be 14 returns for touchdowns the first week and them have to change the rule.
I think
it's there's just, this is not what we wanted. We're changing back.
They want more returns.
Yeah,
so
but they don't want the game to be changed where there's a crazy amount of touchdowns.
I was overhearing that they've been working Tyreek Hill on returns now.
There was a record low 22% of kickoffs that were returned last year. So
I'm surprised it's that high.
They're estimating that with the new rule, it could be between 50 and 60%. So instead of it just being a thing where most teams are okay, we're not returning this. This is not worth it. They're hoping that this actually creates some sort of playmaking.
Are you ready for your top 5 movie desserts, Mike? I don't even know what the hell this is. Movie desserts.
It's desserts that you've seen on the silver screen or the TV that you've been I want that. Number 5.
Have you had any of them?
Oh, you're gonna agree with this list. Number 5, Homer Simpson's favorite pink donut
with the sprinkles.
Hubba, hubba.
Number 4, the pie from Mrs. Doubtfire. Number 3, and there is actually a tie between these two films, and it's the actress Mara Wilson, the chocolate cake from Matilda.
Wow, that's a great one.
Thank you. Thank you
So
for your
good.
co-sign.
Was it a Black Forest cake?
What was that kid's name? He's just sitting there and just
It's a
eating the whole
chocolate
thing.
cake, right?
He had
Just
cake
chocolate.
all over his face, the fat kid.
Number 2, the cake from Steven Seagal's Under Siege. And number 1, the dessert from Hook. Pinks and fuchsias and teals and blues, and it's just creams everywhere, and they're throwing it in each other's faces, and I just want to taste.
That food fight changed me.
I like it.
What about my pies?
The cupcakes from Major Payne. That got
Yes.
Thank you for your support on my
The
crazy
Matilda
little wacky
cake.
list.
That Matilda cake I never would have thought of. Were there any desserts in Twisters? I saw it last weekend. I don't think there were.
Dude, you know you saw Twisters. The jerk? That's Superman now.
Glenn Powell?
No, not Glenn Powell's not a jerk.
I know, he's handsome.
Super likable, but the guy that's kind of like the bad guy with the dude from Hamilton.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
yeah, that guy's gonna play Superman.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
Ooh, OLI, the warm apple pie and American pie.
After or?
So close.
You were so close to saying that.
A lot of A's.
So was Jason Biggs.
No.
A lot of A words there.
All right, Roy. Are you ready for your top 5?
I am. Yes. Blueberry. Bourbon pecan. Pumpkin.
Sweet potato. Apple.
Jessica, what are you eating?
Halloumi.
Do you have the Stephen A. Smith blueberries there? Because I've got to get this soundboard a little more updated, because anytime I've been waiting for several months for somebody to say the word blueberries.
You've been hovering over the button?
Well, no, I thought it was on
dude,
here. I was
blueberries. Good news. If you ever have to put a town on an alert, there's a sound for that now.
Blueberries.
Well, it's just like I do want to kind of
I'm going to go with desserts.
I do want to kind of say something, because there's a lot of people whose opinion I shouldn't really care all that much for. Is like, where's Dan on this, when they're not themselves educated on what had actually happened. And also, they are probably just learning, if they're actually listening to this or just living in my mentions. And I'm pretty sure it's the latter, not actually listening to what it is that we do. So me actually saying that these two fighters in particular also competed in the 2021 games, no one cared, and they didn't win anything. So there's a different, we talked about this, seeing this aggregation the way that it was coming down the pike. We saw it a few days ago, and we mentioned it casually. Basically, two fighters have elevated levels of testosterone and have failed gender tests. There's a different governing body. Now, that is not to say these boxers were born genetically male. That is, in fact, not the case here. They have elevated levels of testosterone that have been deemed appropriate for this edition of the Summer Games, because the Olympics has taken over as a governing body. Now, I've applied a lot of context, and I've tried to read a bunch of this because, as you are, I'm seeing it on social media and trying to figure out, can this be so? Because for combat sports, I think that there is a biological threshold in terms of safety that you need to look out for. So I was trying to see all this because people were speaking with authority on the matter. And I'm really just kind of puzzled at how fast misinformation spreads, how there are allegedly safeguards on social media platforms against misinformation, something that the CEO of one specific social media site seems to really care about, invented community notes, and it hasn't stopped him from perpetuating a lot of misinformation himself. So what I would say is this is a very complicated story. These fighters have been around for a little bit. This has more to do with testing than it does biology, and you probably don't care because you've just read the tweet and you've gone on about your day and formed your opinion, which has now become a pseudo-political opinion when this is so much more complicated than that. Pies.
Blueberries.
Hold on. One of those fighters actually fought today. Imani Khalif, welterweight, beat Angela Carini in 46 seconds in the first round.
Yeah, well, that's why it's getting aggregated. There was one of these fighters was in a fight in which the other fighter just quit.
She just stopped.
And you're seeing a lot of that being aggregated. Now, that fighter that you mentioned also lost in 2021.
Yeah.
And we're in a unique, because I'm going to tie this Victor Wembanyama take from last year. There are athletes that are bigger, stronger, have more muscle mass. And in men's sports, it's celebrated. And in women's sports, now it's becoming, well, it's obvious because they have a penis. And that is something that we need to take a hard look at. These are very complicated situations. You have to dig into people's past, how they've tested before. There's always going to be, especially in Olympic sports, blood dopers that try to gain an advantage. And I would put some of the blame on the Olympics for not mirroring previous protocols. I would also blame the Olympics for not defending these two boxers in particular, who we should say they tested for higher levels of testosterone. So it's not like they're innocent victims in all of this because they took advantage of what is maybe perceived to be a loophole, certainly from other fighters, maybe by fighters that are leaving the boxing ring. But this is complicated. It's been really complicated to talk about here. It's less complicated for an account with a blue verified checkmark to just put some shit out there and have the author of the Harry Potter novels decide to weigh in on it. So I would say this era, more than any other era, and I did not want to read everything that I had to read on this to get educated, but it requires people to read more. And I think, unfortunately, a lot of people that are coming up with a narrative, and we saw this with the Olympic opening ceremonies where people just got religions wrong, or like couldn't separate the Last Supper from Greek mythology and made something that was overtly French, something that had anything to do with American politics. We need to be more well-read. We need to be smarter about this. We can't just see a tweet and run with it as fact, no matter what allegedly they have in place with community notes, because we are in a whole new frontier of misinformation. And so far, we are failing the test.
By the way, the other transgender fighter, Lin Yu Ting, who's a featherweight, will be fighting tomorrow.
You just called her transgender. Like, those are allegations. By all accounts that we've seen, these fighters were born female, are female. They failed gender tests, which is how it's getting aggregated over there. They are females by all inclination, by everybody doing reporting on this, and they have competed previously and lost. It is always sexy for people, for bad faith aggregators, to seize on the success of these athletes that have been questioned.
Okay, let me rephrase that. The other fighter in question, Lin Yu Ting, will fight tomorrow against Satora Tadibakova from Uzbekistan. They will be fighting tomorrow. She's also an Olympian.
Yeah, we have no proof outside of elevated testosterone levels. We have zero proof that these are trans athletes. Both fighters have long claimed they were born women, are women, and have previously competed in this very same event with zero attention, zero fanfare, zero controversy, zero elevated levels of testosterone, apparently, because it was a different governing body. So all this stuff is important, and there's a lot of bad faith aggregators out there that are proudly spreading misinformation because we are now in the world of identity politics, where things like this that aren't political enter the political sphere, and you have to be armed to defend it. This is not a political discussion whatsoever. It's more a sports discussion. And I think you listening to this, if you disagree with my tone or my tenor or anything that I'm saying right now, I think if you and I privately had a conversation, we'd find more common ground than you're aware of when it comes to combat sports on this very issue. But you are not armed with all the information here. I'm barely armed with the information. I'm not comfortable with the amount of information that I have right now on this show, and I've done 2 days of reading on it. There is a lot of unknown, but one thing that isn't known is whether or not these people are indeed trans athletes, because that has not been proven. That has not been proven whatsoever. A gender test is not someone's gender. We should really, really seize on the important aspects of this story instead of, 140 characters. Pies?